Funnily enough, and it's not often I do this, and James seems to have watched it as well, but I've got some notes and I've got that quote written down in terms of nobody asked me about the midfield after Bilbao. He was also asked, and this was the question. This was the question from a journalist, word for word. Can you talk us through your thinking behind the midfield three and what you thought they could do in terms of starting? And his answer was, we don't have time for that. There's a lot of things to do. So for that question, the one that's a bit more maybe difficult to answer, maybe, why is it so snappy of a comment coming back? You know, what should all questions be about? Win the fucking dog, and you know how well someone's doing, or how sometimes it's these questions, and it's very relevant to mention Bilbao like Liverpool didn't happen a couple of weeks ago is also very disingenuous. This is coming from someone, again, I praised him many a time in press conferences for being honest with us, for being very real with us. But since signing that new contract last year, things have changed in press conference terms. End of last season, there was a bit of sourness to his replies. Does he know? Because again, sorry, I went to the asked about the admission. Was it an admission, the two substitutions at halftime? He goes, very clear what we wanted to do, completely dominated, and they scored a goal without doing anything before that. Does he understand we do nothing for the majority of the game? Doesn't matter if you got the ball or not. Doing something is different. And we've got the ball a hell of a lot, but we're doing nothing with it. So as much as he can say Man City were doing nothing and scored a goal, what were we doing in that first half, before and after the goal, aside from Madueke a couple of times? What were we doing? Nothing. But we had more of the ball, and that's what it's about. So I think he gets him. Remember the PSG stuff? We're the best team in the. He's too caught up in stats and facts and the stuff behind the scenes. He's too caught up in all of that than the reality. The reality is, you know what that midfield three does. And not only that, Lee, on top of what we said we'd think if he starts that midfield three in this one, he's also gone and taken out Eze.
Yeah.
And put in Trossard on top of it. It's like, oh, you think I won't start Marino? Watch this. I'll start him and I'll start him. And then at halftime, okay, Madueke comes off injured. I get that. The subs only had an impact for about 10, 15 minutes. I think there was a bit of a buzz, but
Madueke, was he injured?
Yeah, apparently he had something. Yeah, he was carrying it for a bit of the first half. So that was from the press conference as well. But nothing really changed in the second half. First 10, 15, we were better, but it's hard to be worse from that first half in terms of...
And then we got worse again. We didn't build on it.
Exactly. 60 minutes in, stale again.
Can I ask a question? James, you watched it at home on telly, like, so you'd have had the stand up. Turkish, did you have the stand up today? No, so you didn't, like. Did you, Jordan? Right. So, right. I don't know what it was like. That was the least atmosphere. It was nowhere near as electric atmosphere as there has been for Man United, Man City last season, when it's Tottenham. It was nowhere near at that intense atmosphere that we've experienced over the time. Do you know what I mean? When I'm talking about the big games, like, you know, Liverpool coming there, whatever, like, you know what I mean? It was flat today. Did you get that on there? Like, it was flat. We've got a bloody good defence, and he decides to shore it up with 3 midfield players in there, and then he has the audacity to turn around and go to me, or in the press conference, like, you know what I mean, that no one moaned about it on Tuesday. Yes, they have. We moaned about it at Liverpool, but you still done it. We moaned about it at Bournemouth, and you still done it. How many times have you played Mourinho and Rice in a team together? Do you know how many times he's played it? 11 times. Do you know how many times he's won in 11 times? One. And you tell me that, like, no one's moaning about it. And then you have the audacity to turn around to me and every Arsenal fan and turn around and say, after what I see today, the team you put out today and the performance, we play better than we did when we beat them 5-1. Who are you kidding? I've had it, like, you know what I mean? That today, as someone said in the crowd today, he's a coward. It was a coward's team selection. We're Arsenal. We're home. 60,000 fans there today, deflated. because of that. Like, you know, they might all the old Arteta people will all deny it and go, "Oh, we was all behind the team." They was deflated. There was people moaning about it, going, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure about this." Like, you know, got to get behind the team, though, Lee. Got to get behind it. Of course. I still fancy, even with that team, I still fancied us winning.
Mm.
And then ask yourself a question. How comes they've got on, with all of those defenders, how comes that they are running one-on-one with our goalkeeper? How's he doing that? Listen, he knew he made a mistake by bringing on the substitutions at half-time. If he wasn't worried about it, why did he do it? When he turns around and says to you, he turns around and says, no one was moaning about it on Tuesday. So why have you changed it then, Mikel? Why have you changed it?
That's the most insulting thing. It is that he can say no one asked me about the midfield after Bilbao, but he made the change after 45 minutes. So he admitted in game he got it wrong and earlier than he normally ever would. So why could he not just sit there and go, I made the change because I got it wrong?
I got it wrong. Don't insult us, James. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
I don't know if he knows that. I don't know if he because a lot of his you've mentioned a couple of his press conferences comments. Attack is far from good enough, and that's because then after Madueke, our next best attackers have been Martinelli and Trossard. Why? Because they've come off the bench and had an impact on the game. So that's not good enough. Mikel, I'm sorry, I'm actually tired. It's so stale. The press conferences are so raspy for what reason, I don't know. The first bit of pressure you was under in your whole management at the end of last season, you're saying nonsense like we're the best team in the Champions League and yada, yada, yada throughout the last couple of months. Now you started the season and there's question marks. Someone's asked you what your thinking is behind your midfield three. We haven't got time for that. But ask him about Win the Dog and we'll do ancestry history about this dog and find out who the dog's great uncle was from pre-World War II. Like, he'll talk about that all day. Why? Because, hey, everyone will love it when, hey, his great uncle was Colombian. Who knew that?
Respect the dog.
Shit.
Respect the dog.
Tell us what you're thinking with this midfield so we can at least maybe understand it. Because I don't understand how he can then turn around and laugh and say there was a lot of attacking players on that starting lineup. Like Lee said, are you having me on? There was more attacking talent on the bench today than there was in the starting lineup.
The more you think about it, that goal at the end it's really saved them. I mean, it's only a point, but it's saved them a lot of heat. Because if we lose that game 1-0, as angry as we all are right now, can you imagine the narrative, the fan base? If that hits the post and goes out and bounces back out, do you know what I mean? And then
do you know Newcastle's a must-win?
It is a must-win.
It is because Jordan, you're so right.